Go straighten out to the new man in charge, Bob Dudley from London. And Mr. Dudley, congratulations are in order, I guess, but you are taking over a company whose brand and stock price and balance sheet have been battered. You're facing more than 300 lawsuits in the United States. The well hasn't been sealed, and you still have to pay for one of the most massive cleanup jobs in history. With so many issues to deal with, what's at the top of your to-do list?
Well, good morning, George, and this is a difficult day. Tony Hayward, as the CEO, has stepped down, and I'll be transitioning with him and taking over on the 1st of October. What's first on my agenda is to make sure we do seal that well, that the effort contains the spill, we clean up the beaches, we restore the Gulf, and we'll be doing that for a long time. And that is my number one focus, particularly over the next month and a half. I'll be back in the States working on that full time. You
said seal the well. You expect to try a top kill, a final static kill next week?
That's right. We're going to case the relief well to make sure that it's got full integrity, and then we'll try the top kill, static kill this coming week, and then we can always follow that off with the relief well. The well has remained capped now for well more than a week. Oil hasn't been flowing into the Gulf. My expectation would be that there will be no more oil flowing into the Gulf, but we've got to really kill that well to be absolutely certain.
You mentioned Tony Hayward. He said that BP under your leadership will be a changed company. And I wonder what will be the biggest difference when you take charge. You have, after all, worked at BP since 1998.
Well, George, there's going to be two things. I mean, BP will be a slightly smaller company. We've announced assets divestments between 25 and 30 billion. Out of a company that has $250 billion worth of assets. It will be smaller, and financially it will grow. We're going to learn a lot from this incident and this accident. It's a terrible, tragic accident. We're going to learn a lot. The industry is going to learn a lot, and there's no question that we will change as a company and from those learnings. We're going to emerge from it wiser. I think we're going to emerge from it stronger. We're certainly going to continue to meet our commitments in the Gulf. And George, I hope that down the road here, people will recognize this was an incredible corporate response in the United States to what has been a terrible tragedy.
Well, the future, we'll see in the future. Yet looking back, when Mr. Hayward came in, he promised to focus like a laser on safety. Yet BP, according to public records, was responsible for more than 90% of the safety violations in the industry. When you look at this, what went wrong, and what specifically is going to make BP a safety leader in the future?
George, many of those accidents occurred about half a decade ago, and that's what you're seeing rolling through in terms of those safety violations. When Tony Hayward did come in, he laid the foundations for a strong focus on safe and reliable operations, and the company has been moving in that direction. It takes some time. This accident has come out of nowhere with us. It's going to clearly continue to change the rate of acceleration that we have on safe and reliable operations. We're going to share our learnings from this. It's no doubt going to change the oil and gas industry all around the globe as a result of it.
Many in Congress want to deny new oil leases to companies with poor safety records. That could put BP out of business in the future, couldn't it?
Well, I hope, George, that the people in the U.S. see, one, the incredible response, which is a reflection of the values of the company. Sometimes events like this shake you to the core, to the foundation, and you have two responses. One is to run away from it and hide, and the other is to respond and really change the culture of the company and make sure all the checks and balances are there, just to make sure this does not happen again. And I'm sure other companies will look very carefully at what we do as well.
Finally, sir, you grew up in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, about 75 miles from the Gulf. How do you think that will inform your leadership, and do you think that's a big reason why you were chosen?
Well, I think BP is a global company, and I've worked around the world in my career, but I do have a special affinity for the Gulf Coast. I grew up in Hattiesburg, and I also spent my summers in Biloxi and Gulfport. It's very, very personal to me, just as it is for thousands of people at BP who live or work around the Gulf Coast, woven into the fabric of the Gulf Coast. And one of my commitments, not only now until October when I take on that role, but the continuing commitment will be there to restore the Gulf Coast.
Well, best of luck to you in your new job. Thanks very much for your time this morning.
Thank you, George.